LaVar's antics hurting his son.
I thought today it really crystallized for me. Yeah, he's having an impact. He emasculated his son on national television today. His son looks like a robot, and his father looks like the total man in the family. And his son is about to go off to some NBA franchise and be surrounded by grown men. And it seems like he's just daddy's little boy, a little robot who's completely controlled by his father. I think I'm out on LaVar Ball. I think he's a problem for this kid, his shtick. He's talking about a reality TV show and all that. This ain't about his sons. This is about LaVar Ball. He needs to get out of the way and let his sons live their lives.
My bigger concern isn't Lonzo, because I think talent tends to kind of transcend baggage. Like, if you're really gifted, you just kind of work, it just powers through stuff. But I don't think his other sons are as gifted. I mean, what are the chances that his sons are all as good as Lonzo? Probably not. So I don't worry about Lonzo, because he's moving on now. He's taking the interstate off the college. You know, he's taking the exit off the interstate. But I worry about his other sons who don't have the talent to overcome this umbrella of LaVar.
That proves a point right there. All three sons, you have kids. How rare is it that all three kids want to do the exact same thing? They're being forced to do it. They're being told, you will start basketball at age 6, like Lonzo told us. And whenever you asked him a question, I think he said, 5 words? And he looks terrified whenever he's talking. I asked, have you ever had a disagreement with your father? And he said no. And everyone at this table, we know you at one point or another disagree with your parent unless you're afraid to disagree with your parent. And what he saw to me looks like he's terrified to go against anything his father says.
I asked my mother for chocolate breast milk. I started disagreeing better.
Everyone does. And it doesn't mean you have to be disrespectful to your parent. He looks genuinely afraid.
Well, I think, and that's a very good point you're making, and we've had players in the past. We've had, 3 brothers, the Hamilton brothers, one of his teammates. Mm-hmm. Jordan played in the NBA. Isaac's over at UCLA, and Daniel was at UConn. So we've had 3 sets of brothers grow up playing basketball. But good point you made, they weren't robots. They weren't being, at 6 years old, or we're going to make you an NBA player. And I think that's what he's doing. And we've had the crazy parents in the past. We had Todd Marinovich's dad, who almost had him commit suicide. So it's just that he's over the top. Like I've been saying, he's the Kardashians of the basketball world right now. And to me, that's unfair to his son. We can't appreciate Lonzo's game right now.
I saw you on Colin's show. I'm sorry to interrupt. I think he's taken the dog out of his son, too, because he's all dog, and now his son has none of it.
But you made the great point. He emasculated him. And he's just sitting there, yes, no, I don't disagree. Come on, be your own person, because at the end of the day, what's going to happen is he's going to suffer later on. When one of those hot chicks come and get him, he's not going to know what to do. Perfect example, Dwight Howard. Dwight Howard grew up with a preacher father, okay? So he was kind of like closed in on a lot of things. He gets out into the real world.
Got as many babies as Antonio Cromartie.
It's also
by every stripper from here to Atlanta.
I don't think LaVar would let him do that. I honestly think LaVar will have to approve of any girl that comes into his life. But it's also telling that Lonzo said he wants to stay close to home, that he wants to play for the Lakers. Good job. Great if you want to play for the Lakers. I understand that. But it said it's close to home. He doesn't want to leave his father. He doesn't want to leave that nest. And that's not going to go over well when you're surrounded by grown men playing in the NBA.
Of course. Is he going to travel on the road with him?
Right.
Well, it's interesting. One of the things about the NBA, it's really you call it the dog. It's physical. And we've seen with some players that you push everybody in this league, some don't push back. What I wonder is, if you're right that he's emasculated his son, does it affect his basketball? Like against the Kentucky Wildcats, physical guard play. Yeah. Against Arizona, the more they saw him, 24 points, 10 points, 8 points. I wonder if the dad's dominating personality affects him as a player.
It does. He's saying it doesn't, but it does. It's going to take its toll on this kid, especially now when you're going up against the grown men. Now it's about money. That's it.
You're fighting for money.
Of course. And these guys, they're hungry too. They're more hungry than you are. You grew up in Chino Hills, you kicking it back. You're not really hungry. You're not hungry like Malik Monk and De'Aaron Fox. You don't know what being hungry is really like. You know, the same comment he made about LeBron James can be said about his kids. You know, they live in that lifestyle, you know, where
They're driving fancy cars.
Yeah, they're not on welfare.
No missed meals. No missed
know?
meals. Hey, Kristine, I got an analogy that you'll appreciate and Colin won't. I screwed this up last week. B. Diddy, that's what I'm calling LaVar Ball. He is
Okay.
Puff Daddy. B. Diddy, they had the No Way Out album. This is B. Diddy and the family. LaVar Ball, he's Puff Daddy. All in the videos. He is the Puff Daddy of basketball. Anyway, that's my analogy. All
I
right.
think you made
That's a
such
good
a good
analogy.
point, though, about the Hamilton family. I know all the Hamilton brothers, and I know their parents, and they encourage their kids to just speak their minds, and they all genuinely love basketball, and this looks like it couldn't be any more opposite.